Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Week. It's still the home edition of Sports Week. Steve Foxcroft in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen. But this week, I am so pleased. This is maybe 40 years overdue, a 40-year friendship with our guest this week, Jeff White. And that'll be the only time we'll call him Jeff. Whitey is how he is known. Whitey, how are you?
I'm absolutely fantastic. I'm so blown away to be here with you and so pleased. And I'm excited beyond belief. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. This is something that one of those things that no matter how much time between us getting together, having a reason to get together or whatever, we always pick up where we left off, and we're doing it here again, but we've done it through the years as well.
Well, we've known each other since we were, I think, 16. We played touch football. And then, just sort of watching each other's different careers, moving forwards, ups and downs, and then, accidentally or on purpose running into each other, whether it be at a Cat function or something, or Burlington sports event, and losing touch. And then Facebook comes along. So, it's great to still be together. And I got bad news for you. We will probably be together for the rest of our lives in some form. So you're stuck with me.
Exactly. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. You know what? I'm going to go back because I'm remembering things as you talk too. One of the things we did in the early years, we were both underage, but we got into Yuck Yucks and we were in the funniest man in Hamilton contest. I bombed, they booed me off the stage, but you ended up like right up there, first or second place, right? Have you given your girl, we'll catch up to you, got a couple girls. Have you given them the routine from back then?
Well, I think there was a news story that was done on CHCH back then. I had that on video, and so they've seen that. I think. Have you seen that? My girls are here now with me. Come on in first. Say hi quickly, girls.
Yeah, get them in the
These
shot.
are my two. Here they Alexandria are. And they're athletes themselves, soccer stars and basketball, volleyball players. So they're going to work away on their homework here or something. Get out of the shot. Okay, there's my girl.
Good looking family. It's when you plant corn, you get corn, right?
That's right. Yeah. So anyways, the Yuck Yucks thing was fun. And there was this, I was on CHCH TV, and what happened was I was in the contest. I came in second. And because I was 17, I was underage. They said, well, he can't have the prize, which was performing in New York for a weekend.
Right.
So I just said, okay, I guess I don't get the prize. My dad didn't like it. He called the papers. They did a story and sort of forced Yuck Yucks into changing their minds. But the cool part was I went from the class clown that got sent to the office. Then the story ran on CHCH. And the next day I could say whatever I wanted in any class. So it was kind of a neat change to go from the kid that was kicked to the office to the kid that they were, he's got something funny to say. So that was fun.
Did they actually get Central High together, like everybody in the auditorium or something, and have you do the routine?
No, they didn't. At the time I was hosting everything at the school. So whether it was, welcome the grade 9s, I would write stuff up, or it would be introduced to sports teams. So I had developed some characters along with Mike Capiello and Jeff McVenney. I sort of roped them into doing different things. And it was just one of those things where I was always on. But once this thing happened to Yuck Yucks, they were asking me more and more to do stuff. To the end of the year, when actually teachers said, "Can you come and host the teacher's staff meeting?" At the end of the year, teacher staff party. So I actually did a little routine at the teacher's staff party.
I love it. And both of us have done this kind of stuff forever. I'll give you a quick story and I'll condense it because our dads, of course, very important to each of us. Well, my dad was involved in this a bit, where I was asked to, because I'm a musical guy too. Our Graham played the organ. I played the trumpet in the band at school. And they asked me to play taps on Remembrance Day one year. And they gave me the sheet music. I was supposed to go home and practice it. Well, like you, nothing at home, no homework, no practice, no nothing like that. So on Remembrance Day, they bring me out with the trumpet and I play the horse racing song. So a little inappropriate on Remembrance Day, but something you could relate to because you would probably do something just as corny. And I got sent home.
That is absolutely fantastic. That is
my
so
dad
fun.
was not impressed. Your dad wouldn't have been impressed either.
No. My dad was very, very strict. And although one thing my dad did know is he knew comedy. We would watch Three's Company or Carol Burnett. And I would watch when I was younger, I watched my dad when he laughed, I said, oh, okay, that's comedy. That's what's funny, whether John Ritter was falling down or Tim Conway was doing something. So I really started to understand and I started to emulate that stuff. And then I got my dad and my mom laughing, and it, would get me out of chores, or sometimes, okay, I can use this tool of being funny to get things, which worked in the class or, once in a while with a girl. But yeah, it was definitely a skill that paid off over the run, even into my sports career as well. So.
To this day, I still go on YouTube and watch the old dentist routine by Tim Conway and Harvey Korman, where he stabs himself, freezes his arm, all this kind of stuff.
I watched the Harvey Korman Can't Stop Laughing. There's like a montage of where Tim Conway's making Harvey Korman laugh when he's not supposed to be, right? And it's just hilarious. That stuff's timeless.
What was his character? Dorf on golf or something?
Dorf on golf, yeah. That's put on his knees and yeah.
That was us, you and I on the golf course, just any day of the week.
Oh yeah, well, golf not my game. It's science, not violence. I didn't do too well with the science.
We brought up our dad. There's no agenda here because I'm going to go all over the map. But we got talking about our dads and that. And your dad just passed, and that's sad time for you. But great memories, of course. But he was very important to you. And tell me about his influence on you. And I know he was the maintenance guy at all the Eaton stores, but he was just more than that, though. He was bigger than life and just led by example.
Yeah, I joked around at his wake, and so many of my friends came up to me and said, I model my being a father after what I saw your dad do. And I thought, what a compliment that was to hear that, over and over, and that I admired your dad. And so he was a disciplinarian. He was from Northern Ontario. He had a grade 8 education. I was born very late in my family. So, here was a guy that was born in 1927, and he thought the Beatles were crazy, listening to the Beatles in the 60s. And he, with my sister, he thought that was over the top. I came home with a burgundy Mohican listening to the Sex Pistols. I don't think he knew what to do, but he was just a real disciplinarian, but full of love. And he had an iron will, but always positive, super supportive. He's the dad that you all want to have, So when he passed away, I missed him, but he had a great long life. He lived till he was 91, loved his kids, and just, I want to be just like my dad. And I think that'd be the big compliment, right? And much like your dad, who's, was just always reached out to me and always had the time for me, your father, whenever I saw him on the sidelines or when I see him now, he just stops dead in his tracks. He could be talking to the prime minister and he says, time out, there's Whitey, or any one of your type friends. And I think that's a skill that I picked up from both our dads, that, great eye contact and pay attention to that person. No one's better than anybody else. And I think that served me, and I think you well, to learn that from two great dads. So we've been lucky.
I agree. The best thing your dad ever said was when I overthrew the ball to you, because we played tackle football too, but touch football mostly together, and I'd overthrow the ball, but your dad would turn around and say, well, Foxy throws a good ball, you should catch it.
Yeah. My dad was never an athlete, but if he heard a coach say something, he would just repeat that over and over again to me, So my dad did some crazy things with me that were really, really fun and funny. He took, I played soccer first. I got into football as a kicker, believe it or not. My dad took garbage can lids and painted targets on them. He was a woodworker and a carpenter, and he put them on posts. And he said, I got cut from the rep team. He put these garbage can lids on posts and said, he come home from work every day at 5. He said, I want to hear those garbage can lids ringing. And I had a soccer ball, and I would see him coming on the road. I'd be binging soccer balls off these. And I thought it was fun. Then when I went out for the team next year, I was just draining shots in the net like nothing, because I did that every night. So in his own way, he pushed me, but it never felt like I was being pushed. It was always enjoyable. And I try to do that with my girls as well. So again, another lesson learned. And then through my coaching, the same thing, through my teaching and training staff members, I use that from my dad. If you can make it fun and people can learn, sometimes it takes a while, but in the end they go, oh my gosh, that's a great way to learn. So
it's great. Like with our dad, both of us, is just lead by example, and more than anything else, right? Like it's just emulate them, and it's pretty cool. And it's very special. That's for sure. Let's go back to kind of when we first met was those touch football days, and we didn't lose too many games, Whitey. We had the best center in the game, and remember the playbook. Every play for you was drawn up for you to go 5 yards and button hook. But tell everyone at home what you would tell me periodically with the playbook.
Well, I'd call for the deep ball, when I thought the timing was right. If I could beat a guy. I tell you, I came in as sort of a linebacker and then played that center position. But you're right. I think we lost one game in 4 years. We went to the championships, and the first year I caught 15 passes in the finals. And our coach, Terry Wilkinson, came up to me and he said, do you have any idea how many passes you caught? And I said, no. He said, 15 of them. I said, really? He said, not one of them was over 5 yards.
Exactly. Exactly.
I kind of lulled him to sleep, and after a while I might get a quick deep pass in. I don't think I ever went all the way, but I might catch it, but I would be caught from behind.
I think what would happen is you would wait till we were at about the 30-yard line, and then you just say to me, screw that, Foxy, I'm running a fly. I'm going to the end zone. And that's about as far as I could throw it. So you knew when to call the number, right? And then you'd catch it on the goal line, fall in.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I played touch football for 25 years. I was lucky enough to get into the Burlington, the Golden Horseshoe Touch Football Hall of Fame, which I'm very, very proud of, because it is an incredible group of athletes in that league, male and female. And to get that was really special to me. I kind of laughed. It's one of my favorite trophies, strangely enough. But I played with some great players, some unbelievable players, ex-CFL, ex-college, university, incredible athletes. And I say to this day, all the time, we sit around and talk about football. And I say, the greatest touch football quarterback ever is Steve Foxcroft.
And does anyone believe you?
Well, they go, Foxy, the announcer, the ref guy. I'm like, you guys have no idea, and just to hit you with it, why people will ask me, I'll say, strong arm. I said, no, not the strongest arm. Fastest guy? No one could touch you. If you wanted to get out of the pocket, had the best 3 steps in the world, and it opened everything up. But the real thing was the leadership. You talked, we listened, and you got it done. Like, any of those great football, I think Joe Kapp was a guy like that. It was known, wasn't that the guy that played for the Vikings?
Right.
Joe Kapp.
Yeah, Joe Kapp.
The greatest arm, but if he said we're doing it, you believed it. And I think that was the thing about you. You're such a great leader on the field. It gave everybody else confidence. And I learned from that as well as a player and a coach myself, that, great athletes carry some confidence, and it's very contagious. And that was something I playing with you.
What we had too, and I appreciate the kind words. That's I'm very grateful to hear that. And coming from you too, that's huge compliment. But you know what we had? We had all these role players. We had outstanding athletes, but role players too. And it was co-ed at the time, back when we were 16 or whatever, 14, 15, 16, whatever it was. Right. And we always took great pride. We spread the ball to everybody, boy, girl, whatever it was. Everyone was involved in the offense and made catches, and we made sure of it too. Now, you got 15 in the final, though.
Well, that's it. Terry Wilkinson, our coach, and he's passed on as well, who was a real influence in my whole life, and a guy I'm real grateful to, that took a guy who was a linebacker and made him a receiver. And then later on, when I went to the Burlington Stampeders, they took one look at me and said, oh, this kid's a tank. He's going to play defensive tackle. And I was kind of like, I'll just do what I'm told. And Terry was one of the coaches. He said, no, what do you see this guy catch? And luckily enough, I caught on as a tight end, and I got to play a skill position, which made me fall in love with the game even more.
Right.
But Terry was a great guy, and he didn't take touch football seriously, if you remember our warm-up, it was 3 stride jumps.
Yeah.
And they would be doing 15 stride jumps and all that. We'd be sleeping on the bench after you worked all night at Max Milk and wherever. I figure you think you were at a variety store or something, weren't you?
That's right. I was trying to get bus fare put myself through school.
Right. And I remember my dad looking at us going, the other team was out there warming up in lines, and you were sleeping on the bench, and I was drinking a big gulp, and some guys were walking in late, and my dad walked up and he said, look at you guys are going to lose today. And Terry would just go, who cares? It's touch football. Yeah. We never lost. But we had such great athletes and great role players. We had great guys. Jimmy Urquhart, unbelievable. Randy Hoffner, Mike Cody was there one year too. In the early, just the names go on. And a lot of those guys went on to play, as Burlington's a big time hotbed football. A lot of these guys went to some incredible success. And I've played with those guys and still be friends with them is really cool. It's really a great brotherhood and sisterhood in the case of some of those girls and some of the parents. Brady Hoffner's mother, I call her the first lady of Burlington football. You know, she's also passed, but Miss Hoffner was, you know, never missed a game or a practice, not just a game, but never missed a practice. And that gave us all great strength to know that Miss Hoffner was there. She was part of it. And so I think we were blessed in many ways growing up when we did, and in that sport that we played, both touch and tackle.